A really big welcome to the Salon Chat Room podcast with Angeline Hayden, founder of Midas Customer Service Training and Salon Solutions, and Kerry Humphreys, founder of Locate Your Look. Please help us welcome our guests for today. We are sure you'll be suitably entertained and learn something new and inspiring about our amazing industry. A really big welcome to our guest for today, Lindsey Green, Salon Growth Specialist. So welcome back everybody to all our listeners. And also we would like to welcome Lindsey Green, Salon Growth Specialist. So thank you, Lindsey, so much for being here today.
Welcome, Lindsey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what we're going to do, Lindsey Green is obviously Salon Growth Specialist, and we just want to find out a little bit more about Lindsey. So Lindsey, how long have you been engaged in social networking for clients?
Oh, probably around about 7 years now, because I set it up when my daughter had just, I think she was about 2 weeks old.
Very brave.
Yeah, I had 3.5 years previously. I had twin boys, so to have one baby then she was just like the absolute dream baby. She just slept all the time, and I was beside myself with all this time I had, and I just needed something to do. So I set this up. It just happened, really. It wasn't even intentional.
Amazing. So obviously it's something that you are so good at, and you did you trip over that, almost trip over it, but then you're very good at it. So
yeah. I started off, like I said, I'd had my twin boys, and then 3.5 years later I had my daughter. And a friend of mine had a business herself, and she hated having to use social media. And so I said, let me do it. It'll give me something to do. I said, to be honest, you will actually be doing me a favor. And all I felt like was that I'd just been mum. I didn't really have any identity of myself. So I started doing her social media and just found I really, really enjoyed it and was actually quite good at it.
Amazing. Yeah. And Lindsey, yeah, and there is so much business out there, isn't there? Because when people are trying to build their business, a little bit like me, obviously I'm a client of yours, and I am so impressed. I really am. But I don't have the time nor the inclination even, because it's not an area of my business that I actually like to do. So I'm really happy to push it over to somebody who is the expert. And, and it's a great thing. So do you tailor make your social media for the business that you are working on at the time?
Absolutely. It's the thing with social media is that it's not a one size fits all. So you'll quite often see all these infographics and things like that with best times to post and what to post and this, that, and the other. And to be honest, it is all very much down to your business. There are no set times, because even though you might have a direct competitor, you may still have very different clients and their behaviors and how they act on social media. So your best times for posting will be probably completely different to a competitor. I think with social media, people seem to think that it's kind of generic and all across the board, and you sort of just adopt these few little things that you're going to do, and that all of a sudden you're going to get lots and lots of engagement, lots of followers. And it's not easy, I mean, like you said, when you're running a business, you're trying to be everything in your business. And so if marketing is not really your bag, I would say get somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah, Lindsey, social media has changed dramatically. I've been in business for about 20 years now. When I first started out, it wasn't a huge thing 20 years ago, but now it's like massive. But like you said, the engagement isn't that wonderful. Maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the engagement was, but I just find it quite hectic now. I just find I go on there and I just see so much. How can you stand out from the crowd when there is so much going on?
I think to stand out in the crowd, it is about being authentic. It's about being yourself and not pretending to be somebody or something that you're not, because it's really funny if you do try to be somebody that you're not, your audience will see straight through it. I think if you really want to stand out from the crowd, you need to add value to people's lives. So it's not just, if you're a business, it's not just about buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. People want to get to know you. So they want an insights into perhaps even just what you might think are the mundane daily activities that you do in your business. To other people, they might find that quite fascinating to know what goes on behind the scenes. So it really is just giving, it's storytelling at the end of the day with social media, telling that story of how you've got to where you are, and being, like I said, being authentic, being you, so
That's
that
so
people
true,
really
isn't it?
you.
Sorry.
Yeah, people love stories.
Video, then.
Sorry.
So a lot of, is that better through video? So I am one of these people, believe it or not, that as soon as a video goes on, I'm like sweaty palms and nervous, but I spend all my time in the salon talking to people, and that is one of the things that I love about the industry, just chatting to people. So people aren't very confident when it comes to camera, but that's the best way to get your story out, is it not? Because anybody can write a post or anybody can write anything on there, but people don't really read it, do they? Well, they do, but it's just to click a button and listen to somebody. And I think listening to somebody, you get more of a sort of kind of feel of who they are and what they're like, and that normal sort of kind of person behind the business, really. So do you think more video sort of content works better, or?
Yes, I mean, ultimately these days video is definitely the way that a lot of the platforms are wanting to go. They actually, I mean, with Facebook, they will actually favour videos over written posts. There is quite a difference these days between if it's just a written post with no images, no videos, no nothing. If you've got a visual post, which is more of a picture or an infographic or something like that, and then you've got video, which they are ranking right at the top at the moment. And that's the same with Instagram at the moment as well. Obviously, you know, Instagram is very visual, but even now the videos and reels on Instagram are actually favored more than just your normal visual post.
That's amazing, actually, because we're talking about social media for particularly the salon industry. So that could be hairdressing, aesthetics, beauty. So what is your perception of social media, and how do you think it can help with the salon industry goals? Because our audience will really want to know, if they do make a connection with you for their social media, how is it going to help their salon?
I think the main thing, I think people get a little bit too hung up on numbers. So the first thing I would say to anyone is it's really not about the numbers. So you need to be, I think with your perception of social media, it needs to fit in with your brand. It needs to be about brand awareness. It's not necessarily about getting to 500 followers. If that's what your goal is, you're not really thinking about actually keeping those followers, because you might get to them, but then how are you educating them? How are you nurturing them to actually get them? Because ultimately what you want them to do is pick up the phone and book an appointment.
Yeah.
So that is really the kind of goals that you should be having with your social media.
So is it more
rather
about the quality of your numbers rather than the quantity?
Absolutely.
Right.
I personally would much rather have only 100 followers that are all people that are looking to buy from me, rather than 1,000 followers who probably will not even look at any of my content or give me a second glance. It really is about brand awareness. And I mean, you can also really include customer service into that as well. You know,
Yay.
Social media is really good as well for getting reviews as well, because it reminds people of their experience perhaps when they came into you. It's all about calls to action as well, you know, asking people what you want them to do next with your post as well, you know, because yes, your post might look fantastic, but where do they go from there?
It's really good advice, isn't it, Kerry?
Yeah, with the social media too, Lindsay, there's different platforms. Me and Angeline met on LinkedIn, which we both think is a credible platform. But do you think that that's a credible platform for the hair and beauty industry? Because I find not many hair and beauty businesses are on there. Not as many as the likes of Instagram and Facebook. So what's your views on the likes of LinkedIn and Twitter?
I think it depends on who you're trying to target, because obviously LinkedIn is a more professional network. If your salon if you are trying to market towards the professionals, or, you know, your target audience really is perhaps, I don't know, business owners and things like that on LinkedIn, then absolutely that is where you want to be. You want to be focusing some efforts there. But if you're I personally find that in general, with the hair and beauty and aesthetics industry, most people, a lot of their clients probably use Facebook and Instagram more. I think if you're wanting to connect with somebody, to find out about new innovative treatments and things like that, yes, you may well find them on LinkedIn, and you'd probably be better looking there than Facebook and Instagram. But I think in general, and to be honest, I am really just generalizing this because it really is down to who your salon is and who you're marketing to. Depends on where you want to be putting your efforts.
Because I found you on LinkedIn, didn't I, Lindsay? Because I was out there looking for a connection out there, somebody who could actually help me in my business, rather than pitching to perhaps a learner that I might want to read one of my audiobooks or e-learning. So you're absolutely right. It is more to do with the professional business owner, maybe manager, rather than clients. Interesting.
I do think with the LinkedIn side, I do think that it's really, really good to find a job or a new career or stuff like that. And I just feel that with LinkedIn, I just think that you can put what you've done and what you've achieved in your life, and people see that more. But you don't generally see as much of that on the likes of Facebook and Instagram. So I think that if you do want to go up the ladder in your career, or you do want more advice from other professionals, I think it's quite encouraging to get onto something like that.
I do really, I like LinkedIn. I do. There's a lot of noise on Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of things going on, and it's very, very quick, or very fast paced. And I do find with LinkedIn, it is nice to be able to make those connections, like what you were saying, and you know, you can really kind of get to know people and nurture those relationships.
I totally agree. I do think Facebook and Instagram are sort of like kind of see it, but I do think that do you not, Lindsay, and this is just my personal opinion, that I think that the hair and beauty and aesthetic industry, they post like picture of a new hairstyle or picture of new lashes. And I just think that doesn't sort of separate them from the rest. Everybody can put like a picture of a new hairstyle on and a new, what to call it. Is there anything else that you would sort of specify for them to do differently?
I do see quite a lot of people's accounts, which is just picture after picture after picture of nails all the time, or of, like you said, hair. And I have to admit myself that those accounts I do tend to switch off of. And so I very much go with my own gut instinct that, you know, if somebody is doing that, they would probably, or if they were looking at that person's account, they would probably switch off too, because they'd probably go, oh, another set of nails, oh, another haircut. So that's why I always try to encourage people to actually have a variation in their content. Yes, what you are doing is very visual, and that is fantastic. You know, showing off your work, you know, it really does help show others what you can do and what you can achieve. But I think people really do want to know the face behind the brand. They want to know what you get up to on a daily basis. You know, if you're a salon owner, you know, the staff you have working for you, you know, they're all part of that business. And there's so many different aspects to your business than just a picture of a set of nails you've done.
Amazing advice.
Amazing advice, actually. Yeah.
We both definitely agree with that. We're seeing it actually from a different side, aren't we? So for our listeners, budget is really, really important, especially at these crucial times where we're all squeezed. So if you had, or say somebody had £100 to spend on advertising on social network, what would your advice be, and why, and where would you suggest spending it, apart from spending it with you, of course?
I would probably put it into both Facebook and Instagram. I think that there is still a lot of worth to Facebook, as much as the organic side of things has dramatically decreased over the past few years. There are still a lot of people to be reached on Facebook. You know, I think we all know that there are so many people on Facebook these days. And I think if you get the advertising right, and you know who you're targeting, and you really, really pinpoint the exact person that you are looking for, it can actually yield amazing results. And I mean, the same with Instagram, because obviously they're Instagram's owned by Facebook now. I think the reach on Instagram is probably, in my opinion, slightly better. And I think you do find the people that you want to easier on Instagram. But I would actually personally do a split between the two, because they both complement each other.
Good advice. Very good advice.
So, Lindsay, if somebody was struggling with their Instagram, but has quite enjoyed it, most people don't, but some people sort of kind of think, oh, I just want to be responsible for it. Can they come to you for advice of how to get it up and running, and how to sort of what to do to get it sort of kind of made different than the rest, and then you can leave them to it? Or do you just sort of kind of do packages for them?
Yeah, so I work in various different ways. So I can do the full account management, which then it just takes the problem away from them altogether. I can do mentoring, where I got a few clients where we meet up once a month on Zoom and we go through everything, but predominantly they do the work. So obviously the full account management is done for you. Then this one is kind of done with you. And then there's also training that I can do if you need to improve your skills and know a little bit more, especially if there's a few people still out there that are not very confident. They're perhaps very new to social media. And then there are a few sort of free sort of DIY guides on how to do things that I can send people as well. So there's various different ways.
Yeah. See, for the layman like me, the only organic thing I know is the veg up at my farm shop. You know, I mean, there are so many people out there who are really, really in the dark. So to have somebody like you, who I know is professional and approachable and is available, it is just so good. It really is. So if you had 3 top tips for our audience to get more followers in a nutshell, what would they be?
The first one would definitely have to be follow people who fit your ideal clients, because it's no good. It's really no good just following, if you're a hairdresser, following other hairdressers. They're not the ones that's going to buy from you. Second one would have to be consistent in your message that you're sending out to people. It needs to fit in with all of your branding and everything else so that people can easily recognize that that's you and it's not somebody else. And then I think the third one would always have to be authentic. Like I said before, don't try to be somebody or something that you're not, because, you know, ultimately your audience will see through all of that if you really are trying to sort of pull the wool over their eyes.
I suppose it will come out eventually, won't it, as well?
Yeah.
If you're not consistent.
There's nothing as nice as being yourself anyway, is there? There's just that sense of you want people to accept you for who you are as well. So
people
do.
And
ultimately, when you're in a salon, whether you're a hairdresser, beauty therapist, or aesthetics practitioner, you know, ultimately people come to you for you, not just necessarily because of the haircut or the set of nails that you do, because, you know, there's so many other talented people out there that can do just as good set of nails or just as good hairstyle. They come to you because of who you are ultimately. So it's about you as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel that most successful people out there are down to them as a person, because, as you say, there's millions of people in the world that I can do a set of nails or do a set of highlights, but that doesn't mean they'll get on with that person. So I think it's the whole package. It's the person as well as the talent.
Absolutely.
So how could people get hold of you, Lindsey? I mean, obviously what Kerry and I are going to do is, when we edit this podcast, we are going to be putting links in so that people can get hold of you. So would they approach you for a consultation first and then go from there to see if you can fit, you know, your work with their needs?
Absolutely. I will happily speak to anyone. You know, it certainly doesn't cost anything for a phone call or a 30-minute Zoom just to see where people are. You know, I don't believe in charging people just for a consultation, you know, and we need to see if we would actually be a correct fit for each other as well, not just whether or not they like what I do, but it's also whether or not our values fit together. So yeah, I do like to do a consultation to begin with. Like I said, whether that's a Zoom call, I prefer a Zoom call, or telephone call. So yeah.
Amazing. So everybody out there, you've got social media issues, or you just want someone to take the weight off your shoulders, then you know where to go. So, well, we're going to wrap this up. Lindsey Green from Salons, a growth specialist. Thank you so much. I mean, I've learned something, even though you're doing all the work for me, but I highly recommend Lindsey, and I'm sure Kerry does too.
I do. Thank you very much, Lindsey, for coming on. It was lovely to get to know you a bit more about you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. A big thank you to our guests today for giving up their time to share their own salon industry journeys. Don't forget to sign up to our channels so you don't miss out on the amazing guests we have lined up just for you. Big love from Kerry Humphreys, founder of Locate Your Look, and Angeline Hayden, founder of Midas Customer Service Training and Salon Solutions. See you next time on the Salon Chat Room podcast.